where are you at with this team? I guess in the red, like let's say that they beat Denver. I don't even like. I think it's gonna be a longer series, but I think they'll eventually beat the Nuggets. If they do beat them, though, like, are you confident that this team can be like the odds-on favorite to win the West and like just have all these expectations? Because from what I saw last night and what I see going back to last postseason, I'm not there with the Thunder. And I've kind of been kind of nitpicky with this team all throughout the season, despite what the record says. But like, I wanted to see what it looked like in the playoffs, and we saw an example of it last night. And those dudes came up short and didn't really help out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, I think you need to see Chet Holmgren do a lot of growing up in this series here. Not only defensively, but what he needs to be able to offer them offensively. Not that he has to hit 2 or 3 threes a game, but he went 0 for 3. He wasn't really a factor in terms of driving in and getting to the bucket. Again, this is a Nuggets team that was mediocre defensively for most of the year. So you got to get a lot more than 12 points and 0 for 3 from deep from Chet Holmgren. Again, Lou Dort, he's going to be the catch and shoot 3 guy. He gave you 4 of them. He needs to step up his defense, though. That's what he's been known for his entire career. And you're right. It's now the second straight year with J-Dub, Jalen Williams, who is maybe the most underrated Robin to SGA's Batman in the NBA. He was brutal in that series last year against Dallas, like you said. And, like, again, 5 of 20. That's just not going to cut it. That is not going to cut it. You got probably the best you're ever going to get from Alex Caruso, 20 points off the bench, and you wasted it. Again, Isaiah Joe, another guy off the bench for them. We're getting in the weeds here, but, like, he's a guy that hits a couple of threes from them in the game. He went 0 for 4. But that's just a game that the Thunder never should have lost. And I do think they can get to the NBA Finals. But, a game like last night, I think if you're a Thunder backer, if you think the Thunder are going to make the finals, I think you better hope. I think you need to hope that this series goes 7 and that this series really tests them and wrings them out like a wet rag in the summer. And you need to see that they are still coming out the other side malleable, and that they can make that they can win a tough series like this, because it's the same kind of script. Last year, they swept through the Pelicans, didn't face a single ounce of adversity, and then ran into it against Dallas and folded. Same thing, swept Memphis. Now they immediately run into more adversity here with Denver. If they can come out of this series in 6 or 7, then I can say, all right, they had their test. Now I feel confident that they can get through either Minnesota or Golden State. But I mean, it's the second straight year they've gotten punched in the mouth, and we'll see if they can respond better than they did last year.
Yeah, it ain't sweet no more for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, now you're playing a legitimate playoff team. Memphis is gone. Like, that whole Memphis disaster, we don't have to watch that anymore. But like Denver, they were underdogs against the Clippers. They were able to fight through that series, and now beating them in a game 1. Like, who do you think ultimately is in more trouble? Do you think it's OKC down 0-1, or do you think it's the Boston Celtics down 0-1? Both those teams losing home court last night.
I think it's the Thunder. I think it's the Thunder. Yeah. And again, like you said, you pointed to, we can rely on Boston's championship experience. They had a cakewalk through the playoffs last year. Every team they played was basically banged up at one point or another, and then they just blew through Dallas in the NBA Finals. But they did win a title, and they've been in the finals twice out of the last 4 years here. So that they can do it. I haven't seen it from OKC, and we've learned many, many times, regular season basketball ain't playoff basketball, baby. So I like I said, if I had to put the 1 to 10 panic scale, I'm putting the Thunder at a 7, whereas I'm only really putting the Celtics at like a 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's OKC, especially because, like, Jokic being the best player in the world, anytime you don't have the best player in the series, you are on high alert. And I think that's something that I definitely overlooked heading into the series when I was handicapping, because I thought OKC was going to have no trouble with this thing. They probably still win, but this is going to be a longer series. And I think what most prognosticators thought heading into it.